Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel CCM Drummer. My name is Matthew Jackson and today I want to talk to you about open-handed drumming, and I want to give a more general overview of open-handed drumming. Now if you were to actually go on YouTube and just put open-handed drumming in your on the search engine, on the search field, you're going to come up with about 10 different videos on open-handed drumming. And now back in 2013, I did a video on ambidextrous drumming. Now at the time I did it, I was talking about how it's important to be able to write with your left hand as equally as well as with your right hand. And then of course if you could do both, and then do both at the same time, you can do double right combinations. During that video, I never at any time mentioned the term open-handed drumming, even though being ambidextrous in your writing has a open-handed implication. In fact, one guy who saw my video and responded, his name was Gray Ghost Drum Covers. He said there is a drumming term for ambidextrous drumming. It's called open-handed drumming. It's nothing new and should be practiced by every serious drummer to develop their weak hand, and it's very true. Now, one thing I think Gray Ghost Drum Covers overlooked is just because you're an open-handed drummer doesn't necessarily mean you're an ambidextrous drummer. They're not quite the same, and this is something I want to get into. Basically, if you were to take the term open-handed drumming, that is a very general concept, and really all that means is the drummer is not crossing over the snare drum in his offbeat hand to ride the hi-hat. That's really what open-handed means, is you're just not doing that. Now there's three basic ways to achieve open-handed drumming. The first method would be called dominant side writing. This is where typically your right-handed drummer will have his ride cymbal on the right side of his kit where he rides. So what he'll do is he'll take an X hat, which is a hi-hat that's not operated with a pedal, or a cable hat, which is operated by a pedal, and have it rigged up or mounted either on the center of his kit or somewhere on the right side of his kit near the ride cymbal. So that way he can still continue riding with the dominant hand, whether it be the hi-hat or the ride cymbal. So in this particular case, the modification is made strictly by reconfiguring your equipment in your kit by taking advantage of the new hi-hat technology. So that's one type where they don't really do any additional training and dexterity. They just make an equipment adjustment. Okay. The next category of open-handed players is what is called offhand writing. Now this is the majority of the people who play open-handed. This is where in a right-handed setup you'd have your hi-hat set up on the left side of the kit. But they had also put the ride cymbal on the left-hand side of the kit, and they would do all their writing with their left hand. Okay? And they would still fill to the right and crash with their right hand, have crash cymbals, but all their writing is done on the left-hand side. They don't, okay? So this is good. There are some people who are left-handed but come to a right-handed setup and learn how to play right-footed. There are some people who are actually left-handed and right-footed. So this situation works quite well. Or they're totally left-handed and they learn to fill to the right and they learn to play the bass drum with their right foot. So there's three basic different dexterity options there that you could use, but you know that would lend itself to that type of playing. This is called the offside writing. Now the final method for open-handed playing is what is called the ambidextrous writer. This is where the drummer can ride the hi-hat or the ride cymbal equally as well. They can ride with their left or their right equally as well. And it's not uncommon to see their ride cymbal remain on the right side of the kit as it traditionally is, opposite of the hi-hat, which is on the left side of the kit. So they can ride with either hand equally, okay? Now, and then of course, if you're good at riding with either hand equally, then you can put together double ride combinations. So those are the three different methods one can use to achieve open-handed writing. Now, let me give you some examples of drummers who are dominant hand writers who will have the hi-hat centered or on the dominant side of the kit. Drummers like Danny Carey, he has his hi-hat dead center but still rides with his dominant hand. Mickey Dolenz, who played for the Monkees, he has a remote or X-hat on the right side of his kit. Tom Hunting and Scott Travis, I think Scott Travis plays for Judas Priest. Your offhand writers who do all the writing with the left hand, some good examples of drummers who do that are Carter Buford, who plays for the Dave Matthews Band, Billy Cobham, Joe English, who used to play with Wings and also did some CCM stuff, and Will Kennedy, who plays for the Yellow Jackets, or did play. I don't know if he's currently with those guys. Now, excuse the road traffic there. This is one of the hazards of doing a video on your front porch. You got to put up with that sometimes. Now, some good examples of ambidextrous writers, those who could go either way, was a drummer by the name of Art Tripp. I would consider him to be the pioneer for ambidextrous writing, simply because he's the first drummer I've seen on the oldest video footage that was doing it. Some of the newer footages, you can find ambidextrous players, but that's, you know, in more modern times. Art Tripp was doing this back in the 70s. Klaus Esler, he's got a YouTube channel, check him out. Mike Man, I don't butcher up his name too much, Mike Mangini, I think he plays for Dream Theater. We have a female that is an open-handed ambidextrous drummer. Her name is Hozoji Margilis. So Hozoji Margilis, if I butchered your name, I apologize. She plays for a group called Helms Ali. And she has got some nasty chops, very nasty double right combinations. That's just incredible. Once again, excuse the road noise, that's just another bus. Yeah, when your house is on a main street, you get that. But yeah, that group is very good, Helms Ali, and check out Hozoji's stuff. And then Chris Langman, he has a YouTube channel. Those guys, those five guys I mentioned there, are very capable of doing writing with either hand. Now, I just want to say one thing in closing, that open-handed players, I'm not here to suggest that open-handed players are superior to dominant hand players, because there are a lot of dominant hand players that if I were to get my drum kit and set it up next to theirs and trade fours with them, they'd probably play me into the ground, okay? So open-handed playing, especially when you get into the ambidexterity part, where you can write with either hand, it's just another technique, it's just another school of thought. Doesn't mean you're necessarily a better drummer, all right? It just means you can write with either hand equally, and it gives you some dexterity advantages, but doesn't necessarily make you a better drummer. But yeah, I would encourage those of you that have played dominant hand only to experiment and, try to play open-handed. And of course, there's a bunch of YouTube videos that can instruct you very well. There's a Drumeo video there. There's a Klaus Esler video. Chris Langen's got a really good video on that as well. And of course, I got my ambidextrous drumming video as well that I did back in 2013. So that's basically all I have to say about open-handed writing, open-handed playing, is that there's just basically 3 methods to achieve that, and it's basically a general term. So good luck in your drumming pursuits. Thank you for watching. Please feel free to subscribe to my channel and watch some of my other videos. Thank you for watching. God bless.